Good evening and a very, very warm welcome to you on this, Wednesday night, the 24th or 24th of August, however you want to see it. My name is Tonchi Prusats, welcoming you to another edition of the AusCrow Soccer Show, and a very warm welcome to my co-host, Josip Zilic. Josip, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Tonchi. Thanks for the welcome, and hello to all our viewers out there tonight. Doing really good this week. Looking forward to the latter stages of some of the seasons closing out. Some have closed out already, so we've got some news to round up there when we do our Oz wrap up. But things starting to ramp up overseas as well, mate. So I'm sure you'll be able to update us on all those features.
Huge week coming. We haven't even got to the weekend, and we've got two massive European games coming up involving Croatian clubs. Three massive games coming up over the next 3 days, or 2 days, I should say, over the next 48 hours. We've got some huge news as well for all lovers of the FIFA FIFA game. Guess what do you want to call it? The computer game.
FIFA 23.
FIFA 23, there's some big news regarding that. We've also got a lot of trzavice, as they say in Croatian, a lot of issues and dramas around the toing and froing, the tug of war of a very, very well-known Australian Croatian currently plying his trade in the Croatian League. His club doesn't want to let him go. His old/new club wants him, but not at the price that his current club wants him. We'll tell you all about what that is involved in.
Tug of war. Good old tug of war.
Yep, the old tug of war.
It's nice to be wanted, Tonchi.
It is indeed. And speaking of wanted, we want you to be actively involved in our show tonight, and put some comments, questions in the chat line as well. A big shout out to all of our regular viewers, and a big shout out to all of our new viewers who have come in and joined us for the first time, or will be joining us for the first time tonight. Unfortunately, Josipa, we were meant to have a guest tonight, and he's had to pull out, unfortunately, due to last-minute unavailability. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, club president of Canberra, Croatia, Tony Vidovic, had to give us a late exit card, unfortunately, due to club commitments requiring his attention. He won't be able to make the show tonight, so we'll try and get him on at another time. We'll update the news of Canberra, Croatia as well as we go along.
Yeah, speaking of Canberra, the Canberra All-Stars, which features some players from Canberra, Croatia, and the O'Connor Knights, they are taking on Central Coast Mariners in a pre-season friendly. at Deakin Stadium tonight in Canberra. So if you happen to be down there, make sure to tell us what the score is and how the
give us some
Canberra
feedback.
Croatia and O'Connor Knights boys are doing as well. Yeah, Josip, you're going to say something?
No, I was going to say, give us the feedback because we haven't got a stream or kind of
No.
some sort of score update. Not even Football 24's got it on there. So yeah.
There you go. Not to worry. Oh, we're going to take a very, very short break. When we do return, it's all about the Australian Croatian soccer roundup. As Josip said, the season has finished for some. For others, it's starting to near its climactic conclusion. And we've got all of the news from all of the clubs around Australia. But if you would like to be one part of our show in the next few weeks as we sort of start to wind down and maybe sponsor an episode of the show, and we can devote the whole show or practically most of the show to your club and do a post-season review of the year that was, get in touch with us, ozcrowsoccer@gmail.com. ozcrowsoccer@gmail.com, or drop us a line via our Facebook pages, our YouTube channels, and we'll be in touch with you. Folks, don't go away. It's time for the Ozcrow Soccer Roundup with Josip straight after the break. Welcome back to the Ozcrow Soccer Show. Time for the Ozcrow Roundup. Josip, what's making news around Australia?
Well, episode 29, Ozcrow Roundup. We'll start off in the New South Wales. South Coast United, they had an unfortunate 2-0 loss to Corrimal, and it was a game that they really couldn't afford to lose, Tunch. It doesn't quite put them right in the drop zone, but they do go to second last, which puts them on that edge where they can really, if they don't pick themselves up next week in their game against Belambia, then it will be trouble for them. But there are still some games to go there because, as we know, they had a lot of washouts throughout the bulk of winter. So that 2-0 loss to Corrimal, they can dust that off quickly and focus on Belambia this week and hopefully get back to winning ways. Belambia, again, is that sort of around that sort of place in the ladder where Corrimal and South Coast United are. So achievable to get a positive result there anyway. Over in the North Shore of Sydney, mate, Sydney Dalmatia, they had their semi-final on Monday, convincing 4-0 win over Lane Cove. So they'll head off to the final. I don't know their opponent just yet, though.
Right, well done to Dalmatia there.
Yeah, that's really good. That North Shore competition, Tunch, from the days when I used to live in Sydney, is a very, very English environment. So,
is that right? Yep.
If you have a continental European team there, I could just imagine the differences and the stark differences between the styles. Hurstville, we know that they're NPL men's and reserves have wrapped up for the season, but there was still quite a bit of junior activity, and we want to highlight the under-14 girls led by Dean Chulina on their title win. So congratulations, girls, well done, and we hope that spurs you on for bigger and better things in 2023. Over to Newcastle, they're all age guys playing on Monday night. 3-2 win over Thornton Redbacks. So they're back to winning ways for a couple of games in a row now. It's good to see. Still an option there to climb up the ladder with a couple of catch-up games to go. I don't think they could take our top spot in the all-age. But in Div 3, the excitement really hots up this week. Their winning form continues with another 5-0 win, this time against Curry from last Saturday's game. This week, they face top team Hamilton Azzurri. Now, last time they beat Hamilton, the first time around Hamilton won. There's a 2-point gap between first and second. And on top is Azzurri. Second is Newcastle, Croatia. And you know what a win will do? We'll put them back on top.
Throw them into top. Yes.
Top. And with a couple of games after this one to come, it would really be a heated up battle for that coveted top spot for promotion. So all the best, Newcastle, Croatia. You've had an amazing year. You've inspired us all year long. Continue doing what you're doing.
Now, Josip, how many teams will get promoted? Is it just the top team, or is it the top 2 teams in Zone League 3?
I believe it's just one, but then there's also a finals playoff situation, top 4, and the winner of that goes through.
Right.
If it's the same team, then it's the runner-up.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good luck, Newcastle, Croatia. Don't leave anything to chance.
Finals can anything can bloody well happen.
Absolutely.
You'd rather be the premier,
yep.
and you know your job is done, right?
Absolutely. Now, the big one. This is the big one we're talking about.
Oh, the big one. This excitement's building up here in Queensland, mate. I'll tell you. There's a lot of cross promotion happening with Brisbane Knights, Gold Coast Knights, all the Croatian community up here in Queensland's sharing out the messages. Everyone's on the messages with each other. You're going.
Yeah.
Yes, we're all going. We're all on board for Sydney United this Sunday at 3 o'clock at AJ Kelly Park to go and trounce Peninsula Power. So it's a massive quarterfinal clash, this one. As I said, the call-outs have happened. Sydney United have shown some really good form in the Cup. They've shown a resolute attitude as well. So when they have gone down to teams, they've managed to fight back. So that resolve is there and the desire to win. They're going to come to a place that will be a little bit different from what they would experience in Sydney in terms of the deck. It's a hard, fast, sand-based deck. Not too dissimilar to an artificial pitch, but the ball does travel differently. So
does it?
Yeah, it does. It's not your typical artificial pitches. It has that sort of high bounce when you receive. When you play in the sort of like in the traditional pitches like around Sydney and Victoria, in Melbourne, the ball does sort of deaden down. This just skids along because it's got that sort of, especially if it's a dewy day, kind of a little bit drizzle or something like that, it'll just skid along real fast.
Now, tell me, Josipa, Peninsula Power, what sort of club are they? Do they have many supporters? Are we expecting a good crowd?
They're well backed. The president and probably the main money roller there, it pours a lot of money into the first team, high quality team, and they're always in that top 4 position, hunting around for the title. Right. This year they probably dropped off the pace a little bit. They're not that usual strength, but they're still strong, mate. They and they're parochial. Yeah, they're quite in your face.
Right. Well, hopefully we can get the Brisbane Croatian community, the Gold Coast Croatian community, and dare I say there may well be quite a fair few interstate visitors, travellers as well along to that. Make noise, obviously be respectful of where you are and your hosts, but let's make as much noise and really get Sydney United across the board, because imagine they can get through to the semis. That would be absolutely huge. There we go. 3 o'clock this Sunday from Kelly Park. It is live on 10 Play, so if you're unable to obviously be there in person, and if you are, do so. But if you're not able to, then you are able to watch it live on 10 Play wherever you are around the world.
Look at that, and a good feature that is the Gold Coast Knights juniors teams are playing at Brisbane City earlier in the day. So when they knock off their games, just travel up another 15 kilometres or so, and we'll go and support the Red, White and Blue.
Perfect. Now to
special
ACT.
mention. Before ACT,
special
mention. 6 youngsters from Sydney United's youth setup have been picked up for the Nationals to represent New South Wales for the Term 3 Break Nationals over in Coffs Harbour. Isaac Tu, Max Anastasio, Richard Nkomo, Agazia Fragomelli, Alessio Genova, and Jacob Ruinic. Congratulations, guys. Do your club and your state proud.
Well done, boys. Well done.
Yeah.
Congratulations indeed. Now, ACT, moving to ACT. Let's start off
Yeah.
with O'Connor Knights, and then we'll talk about the champions
Good
elect.
stuff, yeah. O'Connor Knights, a big 4-0 win to Bell South, over Bell South, sorry. O'Connor Knights women O'Connor Knights women have ended the season with 5 wins on the trot. They ended their season in second spot, so congratulations on a massive effort. I know that the team hasn't been around together as a women's team all that long, but to achieve such a terrific result this year, hopefully it spurs you on for bigger and better things in 2023. The men's team had unfortunately, they had a 2-0 loss to Monero Panthers. They dropped to 5th and they face Gungahlin this week at home. At home, they are a different unit. You know what it's like for a lot of clubs when you play at home.
Yeah.
You always sort of that 10-15%, so it's the extra person on the park for you. So I'm sure the O'Connor Knights will bounce back in winning ways very, very soon. Over to Canberra, Croatia, the women's team, who are just about there for the title. They've still got a couple of games to just push away if they can. On Thursday, they're away to Tuggeranong in a catch-up game after a tight 2-1 win over Olympic on the weekend. So they've got a 2-point lead at the minute. 4 games to go and a 7-point lead.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll probably just need 2 more wins and it'll be done and dusted. But in saying that, Canberra Olympic too are coming at them hard. So yeah, we'll just have to make sure that the girls get there. But however, the men's have got the title of Premier Elect at the moment. So I think there's some sort of situation that Canberra have to deal with in terms of some sort of tribunal decision that we don't know the details of. But what we do know is that their game last week, their 20 would be their 2-1 win over Belconnor would classify them as the 25th title in the ACT Premier League. So
remarkable effort. Yeah, remarkable effort. We were speaking to Canberra President Tony Vidovic earlier today, and where he did apologise, unable to make tonight's show. Would have loved to have been the show, but he has promised he will be back when they are officially announced as premiers. As champions, we do not doubt that for a second. But 25 titles is quite incredible. And they have been, over the years, Canberra FC, Canberra Deakin, Croatia Deakin, Canberra Croatia, whatever name they were needed to take, forced to take, they have been an absolute powerhouse of the Australian, the ACT football scene. And Josip, I suppose the fact they've got a stadium like Deakin Stadium, absolutely fantastic. It is the best stadium in Canberra, if you don't, I suppose, take into account Bruce Stadium and what you're not. But it's great that, games like tonight, the Central Coast Mariners All-Stars versus Canberra All-Stars game is being held there. It's a testament to the Croatian community in Canberra.
Look, it is a big deal, and you and I both know that, like when A-League teams travel to, for example, to Geelong, right?
Yeah,
they always overlook all the clubs, and they want to go to Cadinia Park, and a Cadinia Park, an AFL ground of 40,000. What are you going to do out there? Yeah. So it's good to see that they're utilising the facility and infrastructure that's there that is achievable. You'll get yourself maybe 1,000 people through the door, 1,500, and it hopefully leaves a good mark for people to be inspired to watch the A-League throughout the year.
That may well depend on how cold it gets up in Canberra tonight. Could be maybe less. Who knows? It gets cold overnight.
Look, the locals are used to it, mate. For them, it's always warm, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's Canberra, Croatia. They're the news there. Moving along then to Adelaide. Is that right? Adelaide is the next one.
Adelaide Croatia's women returned to good form, 3-0 win over Adelaide Uni, moving themselves up to 8th spot. So they're starting to turn the corner at the right time to give themselves some inspiration for the following year. Not long to go to wrap up their season. I think one more game there. The men's team, though, their season comes to an end in the first hurdle of the finals, going down 3-0 to Para Hills Knights. Quite possibly those red cards from last week, Tonchi, probably read enough pressure for the boys. You get two guys, especially if there's starting 11 guys with red cards, then it compromises your usual setup, and all of a sudden you're behind the 8 ball. But nonetheless, to get to the finals, Tonchi, with the way that Adelaide Croatia approached their year this year and trying to promote their talented youth to come through. Congratulations to the club. One, for the 70th anniversary, which is a massive milestone, and two, the way you're trying to structure the life cycle of your club to keep it sustainable for many years to come. Congratulations, and I hope this is the start of another period of great success for the club.
Fantastic. Well done. A little bit further out to the west, and we've got Western Australia. Some good things, bad things happening there results wise.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at Gull of Croatia first.
The Croatia women's team had a 0-0 draw with Quins FC. They're still last, and this week they face second last. So a win, and they can swap places with second last there. So we wish Croatia women's team all the best. The men's team had the result they didn't want to have.
No.
A 3-0 loss to Belkada, who were in last, and now they've swapped positions with Belkada. Croatia goes to the bottom, Belkada second last. They've got a big challenge on their hands now. With the last round on the cards, they face Perth Glory Youth, an achievable situation for Croatia to be able to try and get a positive result there. They will need the 3 points. It can't be anything else but 3 points. Yeah. To make things worse, Belkada, okay, they're playing a higher place opposition, so you probably expect them to lose, but they've got a game in hand, and I think their game in hand is against Perth Glory Youth, if I remember correctly.
There you go.
It's going to be a tough situation, but we do wish the club all the very best in their fight this weekend. Over to Western Knights, a solid 2-0 win over Uni of WA. They have Mandurah this week, and it would appear that the championship is pretty much sorted out now. That even if they get the extra points for the match in hand, there's a 6-point gap, but that 6-point gap to a Bridget Olympic must lose to. Okay, that's the points is one thing, but Olympic's got 20 extra on the goal difference on them.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I can't see this ending any other way other than ending up runners up. And the way Football West works is, I think only one team can go up. So,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, looks like
a massive year for Western Knights. They resurrected their form from last year. They had a reasonable run in the cup as well. So you can see, and the form is there throughout the year. You've seen a lot of positive news coming out of their young juniors and the way they're building themselves in the community. Some good community little dinners and lunches, things like that, really building their profile well there. So they're doing some good things. It's good.
Looks like a club back on the rise, and I guess the one good thing is that if Guelph are going to go down next year, we will see a Croatian derby. Unfortunately, not in the elite competition, the elite division. Hopefully, in a few years' time, we will see that. But at least in State League One. So look, there is a silver lining, I suppose, in some ways.
In some ways, yeah, that's right.
Let's Brisbane,
go over to sunny Queensland. Yeah, the women's team for Brisbane Knights had a bye last week. The fourth place Knights, they take on Lions FC, top team, on Friday night. On the men's team, though, they had a 3-0 loss. They're fifth place at the minute. They lost to North Brisbane, and their challenge this week is to play mid-table, the Slacks Creek. Look, if things go well for them in the next two games, they could get themselves fourth position, which is a good achievement in the first year of this reformed FQPL setup that they did in Queensland, where they restructured the way the zones were. But it's a good start for the Brisbane Knights to put themselves in a good position for 23, mate.
Absolutely. And the Gold Coast Knights, last but not least, before we take a bit of a break.
Yeah, mate. Look, Gold Coast Knights, second place at the minute in the NPL. They were lacklustre last weekend, unfortunately, mate. 2-0 loss to relegation-threatened Moreton Bay. So, look, they have one more game left to play this week, which is a catch-up game on Saturday, away to Eastern Suburbs. They'll need a positive result, draw or a win, to make sure that hosting of a semi-final stays in their hands. So let's make sure that the Knights are fired and ready to roll and get the job done, so that we can all get together on Sunday and continue the happy vibes over watching Sydney United win. But in further news, with the South Coast QPL 4 side, they won last Friday 3-2 over Coomera, put them on top spot. Last night, they faced Murwillumbah, who were second, and they lost 2-1. So that win streak of theirs, I think about 8 games in a row, has come to an end. Murwillumbah go to top. Gold Coast Knights go to second. There's a couple of games to go, but this week another big challenge for them. They're facing third place side Tweed. I'll get that out in a second. Tweed United. Last time they played Tweed United, Tunchi, I kid you not, I sat behind the goals. There was no less than 20 shots, all on target, all to the keeper's hands.
Are you kidding?
So they need to undo that. Let's just get
That's
now
frustrating.
now do 20 shots on target and none of them hit the keeper. They all hit the net.
That's
what we want.
That's exactly what we want. Mate,
thanks very much. And alive.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, Josipe. We're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, it's then part 2 of the very, very, very comprehensive Aus-Cro soccer roundup, and we will be concentrating on Victoria, Tasmania, and there's a lot happening in Victoria, actually, a lot happening. So don't go away, folks. It's Aus-Cro Soccer Show, episode 29 of our first season. It's been a long season, but we're nearing the end of it as a lot of the leagues, competitions around Australia. Don't go away, folks.
Welcome back to the Aus-Cro Soccer Show and the Aus-Cro wrap for episode 29. We'll step over Victoria, Tunchi. First bit of news is in the BiH Soccer Premier for the amateurs. Vukovar in first place. They had a surprising 6-2 loss on the week. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Oh, wow.
Vukovar, I've never heard Vukovar lose like that sort of result. It's just highly unusual.
Is there a big wedding the night before or anything like that? A big Zabava, maybe?
You know what it was? No, that was. I was going to say maybe it's because Dinamo had that massive result against Altona, but no, they played in the morning before, so no.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, they had a 6-2 loss to Melbourne Uni. NK Bunket in fourth place had a solid 2-0 win over Paran. Over to Gorspich, the Div 2 Metro guys. Third place Bears had a handy 2-0 win over the old foe in Williamstown. And this week they face Juve. I love it. Masters had a bye last week. Still on top of the ladder, and they head to Laverton this week. So all the best Bears. Strathmore, a lot of action happening here. Let's first cover off the women.
Lots of action.
This week, the women's team faced Moreland Eagles at home after going down 3-0 to Pasco last week, and they look to finish their season strongly, and they'll finish in 7th position. The men's team, this is where the action's at, everyone. Everyone in Victoria, get your GPS, type in Strathnaver Reserve, Saturday, 3 p.m, be there. They had their second last at the minute. They're holding off relegation. They had a handy 1-0 win over Keilor to push 3 points away from Clifton Hill and get themselves away from that drop. They had the return clash with Clifton Hill. Now, this game, for whatever reason, at half-time, at 1-1, was abandoned by the referee, right? So this is their chance to get back, right? They get a positive result here. It's done and dusted. They can set their sights for Division 1 in State League Victoria once again in 2023. So we're wishing Mickey Cholina, Steve Gojevic, and the entire group, Ante Stipik and the team, Jimmy Tabakis, the whole gang over there, wishing you all the best for this weekend. And we truly hope that every Crow club and community around Victoria gets behind you, comes down and makes that atmosphere for it's totally inhospitable for Clifton Hill
Yeah.
and totally joyous for you guys.
If there is absolutely, if you've never been to Strathnaver Reserve, here's your opportunity. I mean, all the other clubs, the NPL 1, NPL 2, all of the state leagues, bar these catch-up games, have finished for the season. So people will be free unless you're going away or doing something like that for the weekend. But yeah, if you can get down to Strathnaver Reserve and really, really support these guys, huge game. It's probably the game of the game of the year for them, without a
Oh,
doubt. Like, they
absolutely. This will
really
be
need to. And we'll look at that ladder again. And it's no ifs or buts. As you said, Josip,
yeah.
a win and nothing else.
Yeah. Look, as long as it's a positive result. If they get a draw, it's fine. If they get a win, even better. Just make sure that Clifton Hill don't win, and the celebrations will be on. I think after last week they had the last man standing. This will be last man standing because of other reasons, don't you?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Would love to see Strathmore Split stay up in the State League One competition. Remembering they got promoted from State Two, was it last year, the year before?
Yeah.
So they've done well to stay in the competition so much, or to be in the running. But definitely, look, we need another Croatian club outside the NPL competition. That's either going to be a feeder club that's going to provide a lot of those, whether it's for North Geelong, whether it's Dinamo, St Albans, whether it's Dandenong City, or whether it's Melbourne Knights. Those young kids, when they get to 18, 19, 20, and if they don't look like they're going to make it into the first team, and let's face it, there is that sort of like a funnel, and it's sort of like, not everyone can make it. So we need another alternative for them. And why should they go off to other clubs? Why not stay within our own community? And that's the importance of Strathmore.
And you've got a coach like Mickey C there with Steve, with Mickey C and Stevie G, and the double act happening. You've got people that can nurture you through and make you and help your growth in the game, right?
Absolutely, 100%. Now, one of our clubs that wasn't celebrating, unfortunately.
Just a quick mention, though, before we let go of Strathmore, the Div 2 guys, 0-0 draw with Juve. Now in second last place ahead of the game with Altona City, and the Masters had a 6-2 win over Old Ivanhoe. They're in second place, taking on Northcote. So, want you over to North Geelong.
On to North Geelong, and not the result we wanted, Josip.
No, look, maybe a little bit of last round hangover. Not too sure, but 1-0 loss to Moreland City. Moreland City eventually taking out the honours as taking out the title for NPL 2. North still promoted along with Moreland City, so it's still a fantastic feat for the club and for the lads who have fought hard for a few years together as a solid unit.
Mm-hmm.
Look, maybe the occasion got a little bit to them. They were a little bit sloppy in that performance, especially in the first 20 minutes, and that was the difference in the end, because the rest of the game was a bit of an arm wrestle. Wasn't really one to sort of wasn't what you want to write home about. But look, end of the day, the score was there, 1-0 loss, and they could set their sights for next year and start making sure they iron out those chinks in the armour, because they're going to have some pretty solid opposition coming their way.
Absolutely. Now, on to another bit of bad news. Dandenong City are no longer in the elite division of the NPL competition. They will next year drop down to NPL 2.
Yes, they'll change places with North Geelong, mate. That 5-0 loss to Bentley, it was just a mere conclusion that we already knew that Dandy the week before. The result didn't work out their way. Unfortunately, to go down to the 5-0 loss, look, I think they did take the opportunity to blood some youth and let it be a more relaxed kind of game, take the pressure right off. But I'm sure that their planning and the type of personnel they've got there at the minute, and as well as their committee, are very progressive. They'll be right onto it to ensure that they've got a strong lineup for the next season, and who knows, might be right back in there.
Let's hope so. Dinamo will be there though, and what a last round result for them.
Look, 4 or 5 weeks ago, we were saying how they were getting these last-minute goals against them and going down like 2-1s or 1-0s, and they just couldn't do enough of their own conversion. they've ended the season with a real positive on a real positive note with wins, and they've been scoring at those prickly times of the game. So well done to Creaney and the gang. Wishing you all the success for 2023 and a good tourney. They're always stellar performers at the tourney, Tonchi, the Dynamo guys. Yeah. And the Dynamo women too, they're always good, strong performers at the tourney too. They themselves had a narrow 1-2 loss to Ballarat, taking on Maribyrnong, and their last round for the year for them. Over
On
to
the
Melbourne
Knights.
Knights.
Melbourne Knights.
Yeah, the men ended their season in 10th with a loss to Port Melbourne 2-0. Again, look, they did finish their season just playing a little bit differently. I know that Berber had and the club decided to part ways. Ben Siri took over, but it was good to see that they just kept grinding away and trying to look for positive ways to play football. In the last couple of games that I managed to catch, I didn't catch this one at any level, but prior to that, I caught a glimpse of the other two games, and they had a bit of a different way that they approached the game. It was good to see. And we know Melbourne Knights are always exciting when it comes to the tourney time as well. So
yeah.
Keep your eyes peeled for that one. Over to Tassie, we'll wrap it up in Tasmania, mate. Glenorchy Knights, the women had a bye last week. This week, the second-place Knights faced Kingborough. And the men had a positive response after the last few weeks with a solid 3-1 win over Clarence Zebras. And this week, they take on Launceston and trying to retain their 4th spot for the finals. And
that brings us to the...
Hey, you know one thing I didn't mention, Tonchi, when we talked about North Geelong, because we wanted to make sure we covered the other clubs, but we've mentioned it before, but I will mention it again. Young Noah Skorko.
Yes.
He played in that Telke Cup and scored a goal against Hungary, a penalty in a 2-2 draw, and also played a full-featured game for a 6-1 win over Iceland as well.
There we go. He's number 18 on the top,
right in the middle there. Yeah,
right in the middle there. And there's another photo there of him in the red and whites. Geez, they look very strong, very red and white with the red socks. I like that. I like that look.
I got to tell you a little story. So I contacted Noah a couple of days ago, and I said, I can't find the write-up for this last game. Is there anything on it? And he goes, I'll tell you all about it. he is known for being a little cheeky, right? And I said, I'll tell you all about it. He goes, 6-1, we killed them. And he starts talking about how he performed. And I said, did you score any goals or any assists? He goes, I assisted the assister 3 times. Does that count?
Does that count? 3 times he assisted the assister.
I said, okay, all right, we'll give you that. No doubt.
well, at least then we know it was it was a good piece of build-up play there. That's for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Great to see he's doing so well. There's been a couple of Sydney boys as well signing for various Croatian clubs as well. So that's actually fantastic. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the Croatian roundup, which is going to follow very, very shortly. Like lots and lots of news coming up. We don't have any guests tonight, unfortunately, folks, but we've got lots of news and lots of interesting news as well. But before we do go any further, for those lovers of FIFA 23, great news during the week that the Croatian national team now will be featured in the FIFA 23, which I believe is out in September. Josipa. Now, I'm not
always out that school holiday time.
Yeah, I'm not a big player of this, but I know my little boy is, and I know a lot of the young folks out there, and indeed a lot of players love to bide their time playing FIFA, and this is fantastic. Now you can actually manage the Croatian national team. Is that right? Is that what I'm hearing? You're a little bit more in tune with the youth of today, Josipa.
Having a 16, still got one teenager left.
Still got a
16-year-old,
have you?
Got a 16-year-old. Yes, he has updated me today that the difference is that this one you can actually sign up as pro manager and now build the squad through qualification and World Cup or Euros and things like that. So it makes it all the more exciting. And here's a little hint for King Tom. How about a couple of big screens with FIFA 23? Let's see who can manage the best Croatian team.
That's a good idea. Nice. Oh, nice. I like your thinking. Thinking. Folks, we're going to take a very, very short break after this. It's the Croatian Roundup. Here's a little bit more news from one of our business advertising sponsors for today, Pleme app. And next week, we will have the general manager of Pleme app, Nick Kraljevic from Sydney. He'll be joining us to explain a little bit more about the citizen HR component of the app that they've got, which is awesome and extraordinarily easier, or making things easier for those that want to become Croatian citizens. Okay. That's next week with Nick Kraljevic. After the break, It's all the news from Croatia and the Croatian clubs in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Welcome back to the Australian Soccer Show. Let's start off what is happening in Croatia with what is going to happen in the wee hours of tomorrow morning. The big game, the huge game. It's the playoff for the Champions League, and Dinamo Zagreb taking on Bodo Glimt from Norway. At the moment, the Norwegians have got a 1-0 lead, but that means nothing because the Maksimir is officially sold out. When I say officially sold out. And this is something we have not heard for a long time. And congratulations to all the Dinamo fans. Congratulations to Zagreb. I think it's about 20,000 tickets that are allocated to the home supporters. And that has been sold out. It's been a long time since we've heard that, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic.
Good. And it's exactly what they'll need to help. Just give them that extra oomph to get over Bodo Glimt. We mentioned last week they're not a well-known club, but they are. Those Norwegian and Scandinavian teams in general, they're dour. They don't let you in too easily. So to make a bit of ruckus could be the difference between the win or the draw or the loss.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, 20,000 fans, mad, scream, crazy fans at the Maksimir. That will surely have to, and some of the biggest European clubs have fallen at the Maksimir. So hopefully that trend continues. Now, just to put into perspective, Josip, how much is at stake with this one game? Like this one game, how much there is at stake? Forget the AFL Grand Final, the NRL Grand Final. That compares in significance to how important this game is. There's a slide there, and there's the difference between qualifying for the Champions League or automatically qualifying for the Europa League. So if Dinamo does win and they get through, they will get 21 million euros just for qualifying. On the flip side, 11.3 million euros for the Europa League, so a difference of 10 million euros. A win in the Champions League is 2.8 million euros. A win in the Europa League is 630,000. And if you get a solitary point, so a draw, for example, in the Champions League, a draw will almost get you €1 million. In the Europa League, only 210,000. Only 210,000.
Wow.
And then you wonder why Dinamo has got a dynasty and why Dinamo is so powerful is because they have been consistently qualifying for the European Champions League, the group stages and watching it. It's extraordinary money. And for European clubs, it is basically be all and end all of qualifying for these. So we wish Dinamo Zagreb all the very best. Absolutely. Look, doesn't matter if you're Hajduk, Osijek, Rijeka, Cibalia, Vinkovci, or anything else, Varaždin supporter, they are a Croatian club. We're going to support them. Just like Hajduk Split Friday morning as well. They come up against the might of Villarreal, the Spanish giants. They're carrying a 4-2 or a 2-4 deficit into the return leg. Another sellout. Unfortunately, it's not going to be 32,000 or 33,000 as the capacity. It's going to be more like 30,000 because of the actions of a small minority of Hajduk supporters. UEFA has decided to penalise Hajduk with 3,000 or 10% less of their attendance or being able to attend. So that's unfortunate. But look, nonetheless, we've seen what Hajduk is capable of at the Poljud. We've seen what 30,000 mad, crazy, white-clad Hajduk supporters can do to any club, and Everton is a club that's fallen at the Poljud. So anything is possible. Friday morning, 5 a.m., just like the same time slot as the Dinamo game a day earlier. It's going to be I think we're going to have some very, very bleary-eyed people around Australia tuning into some of these games.
I told you what Josip Skorko told me is when Hajduk's down at the Poljud, watch out for the comeback. Yeah,
so
if
absolutely.
they score one, they'll score three.
Well, that's exactly right. If they could score their first goal, I tell you what, and they did that against Villarreal. They scored an early goal. They just weren't able to continue with it. Marco Fossati, in his return, scored a penalty. And that one goal late in the game, that could prove very, very decisive. So, look, wishing all of our Croatian clubs all the very, very best for this, but it's going to be really, really, really riveting stuff over the next 24 to 48 hours. All right, moving to the domestic competition. Over the weekend, we had round 6. Slaven Belupo continue their amazing form. They defeated Gorica 2-1 at home. Varaždin drew with Šibenik 2-2 at home, a high-scoring game. Well, look, Varaždin are, without a doubt, they are one of the most entertaining teams. They're attracting very good crowds. They're amongst the goals. So they certainly are a breath of fresh air to the Croatian Soccer League. Dinamo Zagreb, the juggernaut that is the Dinamo Zagreb Football Club, continues, smashing Osijek 5-2.
That's a big one there, mate, because look, that circle around Bjelica looking to get his head on the block, that's just going to really amplify it now.
Yeah, absolutely. 5-2, big win there for Dinamo, a big loss for Osijek. In the wee hours of Sunday morning, Istra held Rijeka to a 1-1 draw there in the big local northwestern Croatian derby, if you like it. Yeah. Good crowd there at the Aldo Drosina Stadium. By the way, I think one of the better stadiums. It's a small boutique stadium in Pula, but a lovely little stadium. 1-1 there. Hajduk split. Big important game here for Hajduk. Wasn't as convincing as maybe some thought, but Lokomotiva have been a bit of a tough team in recent years for Hajduk. But winning 2-1 in front of 20,000 or nearly 20,000 fans at the Poljud. Great result for Hajduk. We look at the ladder there. Dinamo is just starting to pull away. They're undefeated, 5 wins, only 1 draw, and that was against Varaždin in Varaždin. Slaven Belupo, incredible feat that they are doing so early in the season, sitting in second place. Hajduk, they've got 2 games in hand, so look, if they win those 2 games against Osijek and against Rijeka, who both are struggling at the moment, well, then they will certainly move up to against Gorica and against Rijeka. They will move into the second spot with 15 points. At the bottom end, we've got Istra that are on 5 points. So too, though, Osijek and Rijeka and Gorica. It's very, very close at the moment.
Yeah.
Now, it's the interesting thing about the latest round. If we look at the crowd figures, this is really interesting. Hajduk Lokomotiva, an official attendance of 19,243. All the other 4 games attracted about 10,000 or just over 10,000 fans. Dinamo and Osijek, this is a disappointing crowd. 5,100, but it seems that the Zagreb public will turn out when it's a big game, like obviously tomorrow morning's Champions League qualifier. But they're almost become a little bit bored, I think, of winning everything and beating everyone in the local domestic HNL. Istra and Rijeka, we said the local derby there, attracted a crowd of 2,500. Probably would have been a little bit more if Rijeka were doing a bit better. Varaždin, Šibenik, another healthy 2,600. Now, this is against a team that isn't really, I suppose, a big drawing opponent, Šibenik. But nonetheless, the crowd in Varaždin seems to get better and better. Now, the disappointing one, Slaven Belupo versus Gorica. Yes, Gorica, not a big crowd-pulling opponent. But Slaven Belupo are enjoying success like they haven't in God knows when. They're second on the table. They're doing exceptionally well. They could only pull a measly 673 spectators.
Okay.
Man, that's not good.
Yeah, you'd
that is not good at all.
a lot more for a team that's exceeding expectation.
Oh, absolutely. So very disappointing in that regard. I don't know what's going on there. But look, total of 30,000 fans in round 60. Average was 6,027, which is more than double last season's average. So things are looking good.
Well,
in
the
some
signs are good
things.
there.
Yeah. So let's look
and
ahead.
you look for a country of 4 million. Those crowd numbers that you just mentioned, Tunch, they're the same as they are for A-League for a country of 24 million, mate. So.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Yep. Enough said, I think. Enough said there. Saturday, Gorica taking on Istra. When I say Saturday, that's Saturday our time. Obviously, Friday night in Croatia. 4 o'clock for those that are interested in getting up to watch these games. Lokomotiva taking on Slaven Belupo at 2:55 a.m. Sunday morning. And then Rijeka and Varaždin at 5 o'clock on Sunday morning. Monday morning, 2:30 a.m. Šibenik taking on Dinamo Zagreb. That should attract a very good crowd down in Šibenik. And then Osijek taking on Hajduk Split in Osijek. Always a one that attracts a very, very good crowd. Moving along to the...
I don't know. Sorry. I think at the moment the Osijek fans might be a bit bitter, mate. So, we'll see about that.
We'll see what happens there. Exactly right, yeah. The Prva Liga or the Druga Liga, however you want to look at it, the second-tier competition in Croatia. I'll never get over just the naming of these competitions. Anyway, the Prva Nogometna Liga, as they call it, has kicked off. Well, we had some round two results. Orient Dubrava 2-2. Rudeš, they are the odds-on favourites to take out the title this year. They beat Bijelo Brdo 2-1. Bijelo Brdo, I don't know if we should mention this or should not, but Bijelo Brdo is actually a Serbian community-backed club from just outside of Osijek. And apparently there was a young fella from Adelaide, from one of the clubs there, not a Croatian club, and went
from
over
Belgrade.
there.
From White City.
What are they called? White City, yeah.
White City,
has actually signed there. So, look, not only do we have Australian Croatians going to Croatia to play in the Croatian League, also got an Australian of Serbian extraction. So it is the go-to destination, it seems. And we've also had Aussies going there in the past. I know Jason Davidson had a stint there, the son of the great Alan Davidson, who played for the Melbourne Knights. He played, I think, had a stint at NK Rijeka. Bit of an unforgettable stint, I'm hearing. But, yeah, it's good to see that the Croatian League is becoming a bit of a destination for a lot of Australian footballers.
Good. Good to see the clubs are welcoming you.
Yeah. Solin, big win over Croatia's Mijavci in the Dalmatian derby, 4-0. And Vukovar, everyone's second favourite club. Aren't they doing well? The newly promoted Vukovar, they came up against Jarun from Zagreb, who was a bit of a heavy hitter, heavyweight last year. But the Vukovarci, look at that, 4-1. Luckily, they didn't suffer the same fate as their namesakes down in Melbourne, having that big loss.
That's quite unusual.
Yeah, it is unusual. It is unusual. But a good win there by Vukovar, 1991. Hrvatski Dragovoljac against our club, Josip Cibalia, 0-0. So that's Cibalia's second draw now. Now, next round, Cibalia host Rudeš in Vinkovci. So that should be a really interesting game.
That'd be a really good game, yeah.
I think that would be a very, very interesting game. Dugopolje from the outskirts of Split, they had a really bad first-round loss, I think, to 4-0 to Croatia's Mijavci. But against Kustošija from Zagreb, from the nation's capital, they absolutely demolished them. So a 4-1 win there. Great result there for the Splitčani. Now, over the border, we go to... actually, before we go to BiH...
I was going to say, Tonch, isn't there some sort of tussle going on with a player?
There is, yeah. Let's
Croatia.
talk about that. Anthony Karlik, yes, the ex Sydney Croatian. Now he is such a mad Hajduk Split supporter. He's actually got Hajduk Split tattooed on his calf, on one of
Okay.
his calves, and he's now he was a member of Hajduk Split's second team when they had a second team in the second division back then when it was known as the second
Yep.
division, and ended up getting uh, transferred to Gorica, and he's become their number one player at the moment. Now, Hajduk desperately need that Ospica, that number 8, that sort of defensive midfielder, and someone who's going to give a bit of cover to Krovinovic. And they see Anthony Karlik as the perfect player to provide that. Hajduk has experimented with a number of players, and they just can't seem to get that formula right. And they do need someone who's going to provide that little bit of depth in the midfield. Anthony Karlik is the perfect player, and they want him. Karlik wants to go to Hajduk, of course, if you've got a
Of course.
Hajduk
Yeah.
split tattoo on your calf. But Gorica are standing firm and saying, no, he's our player, to the point that Gorica is threatening to actually go to UEFA. Now, if successful, if they can prove that there's poaching going on, that he's a, because I think the rule is if within the last 6 months of a player getting out of their contract, rival clubs can approach them and start negotiating. Well, that's not the case with Karlik. And so Gorica are threatening to go to UEFA. If successful, this spells bad news for Hajduk. They could be suspended for 12 months signing any player.
Ooh,
Jeez.
jeez.
Let's hope it doesn't get to that.
Not
But
after
that's
the good work that they've done to get to where they are these days. So
yeah. So that's where we stand with regards to that. So hopefully it doesn't get to that. But let's see what eventuates over the next few, maybe days, maybe weeks as well. I'm not too sure, but yeah, that's what's going on at the moment. All right, over to BiH. Round 6, the results there: Posuše Igman 2-2. Posuše getting a much needed draw. It's a
much
good
needed,
result
yes.
for them. They really, really needed a victory though, but they didn't get it. Sloga, Dorboy, and Široki Brijeg 1-1. Široki Brijeg doing very well. They got a red card here, so that may have made things a little bit bad for them. Tuzla City taking on Leotard 4-1 there. Borac Banja Luka 2-1 over Željezničar, and Sarajevo and Sloboda 1-1. There's a round 7 fixtures coming up. Out of the Croatian clubs, Posuše go to Tuzla to take on Sloboda. And Široki Brijeg are at home to Velej, Mostar, and Zrinski, who have not played too many games at all in the local domestic competition. They take on Tuzla City. Now, if we look at the results, it's okay, folks. It's okay. Zrinski are, yes, on the bottom, but they've only played 2 games after 6
they've got heaps to
rounds.
catch up on. Yeah.
Take a deep breath, guys. It's
okay.
What's not okay is Posuše in 10th spot. They did take it. They did get a draw then, but yeah, they need to get some results, some winning results to move up the top of the ladder, or towards the top of the ladder, where a Croatian club is sitting very pretty. Široki Brijeg on top with 11 points from 5 games. The good thing is they're still undefeated. In fact, they're the only undefeated team in the BiH Premier League. So well done to Široki Brijeg. Let's hope that they can continue doing that.
Exactly.
Now, before we do... Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, I look forward to that, and also look forward to Zrinski starting their climb up after they finish off their qualification, because they've got an important game coming up on Thursday. Yeah,
it's a hugely important game. Mostar has gone nuts. Like they just, the tickets for the first leg last week was incredible. 1-0 result there. It was a great result for Zrinski. And actually, if I can find it, I will actually find. I think we've got footage of when Zrinski scored. The listen to this. I don't want to talk about it. Let the commentator talk for himself. How good is that? Nemanja Bilbija. He's the club's leading goal scorer of all time goal scorer. He's just a legend. They're talking about putting a statue, bronze statue. Yeah, he's that revered at Zrinski Mostar. And that goal, but the commentary was absolutely fantastic. But Sergej Jakirovic, the Zrinski coach, who's from Metkov, for all of you proud Metkovčani out there. Mate, the guy's incredible. I honestly think he will be a future coach of the Croatian national team.
Oh, really? Okay.
And did you see how composed he was? Pandemonium, celebration. He's just taking a swipe of his water, nice, calm. He knows the job's not fully done yet. Yeah. And on early Friday morning, they're going to continue the job against Slovan Bratislava in Bratislava. Wishing them all the very best. And, geez, if they can get through, Hajduk can get through, and Dinamo can get through, well, 3 Croatian clubs in the group stages of the European competitions. How good will that be?
My favourite part of that footage, though, Tonchi, was after all that celebration and the players are starting to come back on the park, there was a tall defender. Someone stood on his foot. He wasn't worried about the celebration. He was like, but just me stao na nogu.
Yeah, exactly. That, mate, brings us to the end of this show. For a show that we didn't have a guest, we had so much to get through, so much news, and it's great to see the football never stops. When the season finishes here, we'll have lots to talk about overseas as well. But next week, let's hope that we'll be talking about Sydney United. That's the big one. That's the massive one.
I look forward to that.
They can bring home the win on this weekend. And look, it'll be a fantastic result. I've got that graphic up again. I'm going to bring it up on, and there it is. Taking on Peninsula Power, AJ Kelly Park, 3 p.m. this Sunday. It's live on 10 Play, but we'd like as many Croatians from Brisbane, Gold Coast, whichever area, to go there and be part of Sunday's massive match.
Yeah.
Josipe, are you going to go to the game?
I'll be there, mate. I'll be there. Straight after Ben's game from Brisbane off to the Redcliffe area.
Great stuff. Well, wishing Sydney United all the best, and we hope to have then someone from Sydney United next week. And we'll also have Nick Kraljevic from the Pleme app talking about the becoming a Croatian citizen, so veering a little bit off the soccer talk, but also a very, very valued sponsor of this show.
Hey, look, folks, thank you. There's a lot of young players that are looking to go overseas, and this might be the opportunity for them to look through how to go about it. So.
Yeah. Remember, if you're a citizen of Croatia, you're also a European Union citizen as well. So it helps. And that's why the Croatian League is becoming more and more of a destination for a lot of Australian Croatian players, because it could lead jumping into somewhere else, especially if you are a Croatian citizen. So, it'll be very interesting chatting to Nick next week. Good night, folks, and thank you for being a part of tonight's show. Bye-bye.
Laku noć.
Thank you.